Hey, before we get in this episode, can you do us a favor? Will you go ahead and subscribe to the channel?
Will you ring that notification bell?
And if you would, give this video a like. Well, enough of that mumbo jumbo. Let's get to the episode.
Let's talk, developmentally speaking, glow up, and connecting through wrestling.
Hey everybody, I'm Morty.
And I'm Brian.
And on today's episode of Connecting Through Wrestling, we have NWA wrestler Rush Freeman. Rush, how's it going?
It's going good, man. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for bringing me on the show.
Thank you so much for being on here. Is that water or a big old thing of vinegar? I swear.
It's water. It's I get it from a place I do cryotherapy, and it's electrolyzed. It's really fancy water. It's better than Smart Water. It's better than Core and all those other brands. They really market it, so they wanted me to talk about it.
Yeah, I saw the I think it was a Snap or a TikTok or
Instagram.
something. Instagram. That was it. Yeah, of you doing the cryotherapy.
It's so cold. I thought it sounded really cool at first. I see all the bodybuilders and everyone doing it, and then you get in there and you're literally in negative 220 degrees for 3 minutes, and you're naked. And so can you imagine, like, it's wintertime, the box.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't think I have that much room to shrink, so I probably couldn't deal with the cold like
that. Yeah, they give you these gloves. They give you wool gloves, and of course you're just immediately just holding yourself.
Oh, I bet so, for sure, absolutely. Well, on every podcast that we do, we ask the same question, and the answer could be either the shortest or the longest, depending on what your story is.
All right.
What made you get into professional wrestling?
Oh man, like I said, it could be short or long. I got into it as a kid. I loved watching early 2000s wrestling. I liked the 90s, but I got grounded because I probably was trying to hit my sister with moves or something. So in the early 2000s, 2002, I got into it and I watched, the SmackDown 6. We didn't have cable, so we couldn't watch Raw. So we watched SmackDown, and I got into Eddie and Chris, Edge, Rey Mysterio, all those guys, and I loved it growing up. And I went to college, and I finished college, and I went and got my master's degree, and I was actually working my shoot job, working in construction. I'm a safety manager, and I stayed doing it for years, and I still do it to this day. But a couple years into it, I was like, man, I really don't want to do this for the rest of my life. I get bored. Everyone dies in their 60s. Like, I just want to do something, fun. I want to try something new. And so I started looking into wrestling, and, I actually tried out with some local yokels, and it didn't go too well. And then later on, I became friends with James Storm, and he got me in touch with the right people, and that's when I got trained.
Fantastic. So who was your trainers?
Ironically, it was Jeremiah Plunkett, my brother in the ill-begotten, and then after that, it was Thomas Latimer, and then I move a lot for construction, and so after I moved to Michigan for a while. I trained with Truth Martini. And then after there, I moved to Georgia, and I trained with the Nightmare Factory. Not with Cody, with QT Marshall. So, those are all my trainers.
Yep. So you are one of the tried and true guys as well.
Yep, I'm a tried and true boy.
Yep, awesome. So coming up, we have NWA 74. There's been a lot of big matches announced. What do we have to look forward from you?
Man, there's so much going on right now in the NWA. I told you that Jeremiah Plunkett trained me. Well, just as it unveiled recently in tonight's episode, I was removed from our faction, our group. We're in a brotherhood called the Ill-Begotten, and things weren't working out, so we parted ways. And I'm actually working with a new guy named Brady Pierce, and we're a tight-knit unit. We've been talking a lot. We're good friends, and we're going to see if we can try to get into this U.S. tag title tournament that they have, the Battle Royal that they're going to be doing on night 2 at the NWA 74.
Well, that's a great idea, for sure. So the Ill-Begotten, first it was Captain Yuma, and then it was you?
Yep, it was me and Yuma. Then Plunkett and Taylor came along, and it was mostly Alex. He didn't have it in for Yuma, and so he got him out, and I let it happen. And they brought in Danny Deals, and it really did change. In the beginning, me and Yuma were really tight, and then it kind of just became these other 3 guys and then me. So I could see the writing on the wall. I didn't really fit in with them anymore.
Right. So many people, as they're coming up through the business, have a lot of well, they have different stories. Some people, we spoke with Jack Stain. He basically said that it was, easy breezy. Everything he did, kicked ass and took names. How has it been for you coming up through the wrestling world?
It's been easier for me than it has for some people. Um, I really did hit the ground running with it, and honestly, just I don't want to use the term backstage politics, but like I'm really good at just networking and making friends with people. I've got a likable personality to an extent, and it's helped me out. I've worked hard. When I started with the NWA, I was their errand boy. I ran to Lowe's, I ran to Home Depot. I had a truck, and they needed somebody to pick stuff up. That was me. Eventually, they started putting me on the bell. I started ringing the bell for matches. And then one day, Billy finally gave me my big break and let me wrestle. And then it's just been off to the races since then. But I worked my way from the bottom.
You paid your dues.
I paid my dues, yes,
Absolutely.
exactly.
Being in the business as long as I have, you never stop paying your dues, and it's
No.
and that's recognized. People see that in the business. We just got done speaking with Magic Jake Dumas, and he was speaking to us. We told him that you told us when we were setting up this that you said that we should hurry Jake's interview, since your interview is going to be better than his, and he told us to ask you about how one time after a show, you kept a certain NWA World Heavyweight Champion over till about 1 a.m. in the morning before they got back to their
Oh,
hotel.
of course you could bring that up. Of course. All right. So I assume you want me to tell the story. Of course he could bring that up. All right. So we were in Clarksville. No, excuse me. It was Knoxville. It was this last set of tapings. It was the Always Ready pay-per-view. And I got the opportunity to work with Sam Shaw at the Always Ready pay-per-view pre-show. Next day, they tell me we're going to go work with Trevor. We've got a spot lined out. We're going to introduce my big brother. His name's Rolando, and he is literally this tall. And we're going to introduce Rolando. We're going to have him come out, and he's going to beat Trevor's ass. So I get out there and get on the mic, and I just choked. I didn't stop talking. I talked too much probably, and I just said the wrong things. And I called him the National World Heavyweight Championship. That's two different titles. And so anyway, the promo just sucked. But once we got out there, the action in the ring was great. Like Rolando, I mean, we got some really good work in. We did a number on Trevor, if you know what I mean. And anyway, we're done, and we're like, all right, well, the promo sucked, but we killed it. And Pat and Danny Dills come up to us and they say, hey, we got to reshoot it. And we're just heartbroken. No, why? Like, we're not going to get that crowd reaction again. That's not going to happen again. And sure enough, we had to wait till all the tapings were over. We waited until the room was completely empty. It's nice and dark in there. Trevor's doing a promo about, giving to your local food banks or something, some babyface promo, I come out and I get in his face, poking his chest, whatever. I introduce my big brother. Trevor punched me in the face. Rolando comes out, and he's maybe to here on Trevor, just chewing him out, and Trevor proceeds to whoop both our asses. And so they aired that, and we didn't get half of the pop and the reaction that we wanted. The first one was the original taping was so much better, but that promo was just garbage. And so Jake reminds me of it every single day.
Okay, all right. So do you, I even said before we start this that we don't dig for dirt, but since Jake gave us a little bit on you, do you have any on Jake?
Oh my God. We're gonna go personal here. So I tossed Jake a bone here. I have this girl that I met on Tinder, and Bumble, Bumble, and a couple years ago, and I'd gone on a date with her and thought she was a cool girl. We'd stayed friends and whatnot. Jake, on the other hand, he'd been through a divorce, and he hasn't, had a date in a long time. And so I'm like, I got the perfect girl for you, bro. I introduced him on Christmas night. We all went out together, had fun. They hit it off real well. she's a stage 5 clinger. And to this day, and he can't stand her. He doesn't want anything. I'm gonna have to hide this when I share it on my Instagram story. I'm gonna have to hide it so he doesn't see me posting it. That way I can, she doesn't listen to this. But yeah, she is a stage 5 clinger. And every time I talk to her, she talks about Jake nonstop. And I try to set things up like, hey, Jake, let's go out tonight. We're gonna go have fun. And I've secretly got her planning to come in, and we're gonna hang out. This is gonna happen. I'm gonna get them together one day, and I'm just gonna look Jake in the face and be like, "Yeah, you deserve this."
There you go. There you go. Awesome. You got any questions?
Yeah. So, what's it like moving up through the NWA? What's the atmosphere? Because you're working with a lot of, you're very talented, and you're working with very talented people. So that you've got all these knowledgeable people around, so it's got to be just like a plethora of knowledge nonstop from every angle. So what's it like growing up through the NWA?
Yeah, it's such a family atmosphere, honestly. From the very first time, I started on season 2. Now we're just finishing up season 9. So I've been with them for 7 seasons, and it's constantly just everyone being polite to each other. You might get somebody coming in from somewhere else, and they're new and they don't know what to expect, and they kind of seem standoffish or something. But by the second season they're there, they're one of the family. They're just tight knit and close. And the veterans who've come from WWE and just they've been on TV and we've watched them. Tyrus especially. Tyrus, I look up to him a lot. I try to call him my friend. He tries to give me a noogie and bully me, but I love Tyrus to death, and he's given me so much feedback and just knowledge. Every time I have a match, I'll go up and ask him if he watched it, and he'll give me his feedback. He'll tell me where I suck, where I need to improve, and what was good. And so you get that with a lot of guys. I worked with Fandango, and Fandango, I actually got my first victory in the NWA pinning him, and I paid the Fixers. The Fixers came in there, beat up him and JTG. I paid him, gave him the envelope full of cash, crawled on in there, did a little dance, and pinned him. And that's a lot to ask from a guy who's of his caliber, So he was very giving and letting me do that. I asked him repeatedly throughout the day, like, "Are you okay with this? Like, don't hate me forever." Like, I will tell them. I love Dango. I looked up to him a lot. He wrestled Jericho at WrestleMania. I don't remember which one it was, but I always looked up to him and thought he was great. I loved his character and whatnot. Mm-hmm. So I love being around these guys. And I'm young. They don't have to show me any respect at all. I'll sit back and shut up. And that's typically what I do, is sit back and shut up and go annoy certain people like Jake. But they all treat me like a friend, and I'll do anything for them.
That's awesome. Because when they were on the main roster at WWE, they know what it's like to not have anybody help them. Because the majority of those people that worked there during a time to where they would just spend most of their time in developmental, finding who they are, then they get thrown on TV for 2 weeks and they get released, or then they change this and that.
Yeah.
So they know what it's like to be able to give back now. It's almost like a rebirth for all of these people, for Murdoch, for Idol Stevens, for Fandango and JTG, and the NWA has made it a good home for everybody. And then to learn from them, they all came through OVW and
I was
all
about
them.
to say, one of the things that I love about NWA, we're OVW guys, our other podcast, Developmentally Speaking, it is right now been primarily about OVW because that's what we grew up watching. And there's so many OVW guys that I see in NWA, and that's going to bring you a quality product because OVW was heads above everybody else back in the day.
And they talk about it all the time. Aaron Stevens, I didn't really know Aaron. He's talked about Louisville so much, and it makes me just wish, like, man, I wish I could have been a part of that. Like, I love the culture they bring to it. They get groups together and they'll take a big OVW picture, like beside the ring.
It's insane. Like when we were kids, we knew it was wrestling, but we didn't realize, all these people. They'd come to your town, and it's like Cena and Batista and Orton, and you're just like, they didn't have a name then, and
then we had our hometown heroes, you know.
So like they all, what they did was something very special, and it's very nice to see them giving back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Passing on all that knowledge that they got from the training classes with Rip Rogers and Nick Dinsmore and all of them. And it's great to see. If you had any advice that you could give to the person that's just now getting in to professional wrestling or looking to get into professional wrestling, what would you give to them?
It's typically two different things. One, move. I get a lot of people from Oklahoma, where I'm from, and they're like, "Man, is there anywhere around Arkansas or in Oklahoma?" I'm like, "Why do you think I left?" Like, you got to move, man. You go to good schools. I trained at Tried and True Academy. Tom Latimer, he's teaching in FXE, I believe it's called. It's in Hendersonville, Tennessee. Tom's a great trainer. I would pick him over anybody. The Nightmare Factory, you're going to get set up with great opportunities. You'll get a lot of AEW experience and just real experience from like Billy Gunn goes in there all the time, and just guys that are on TV each week. So my first thing to say is go get trained by someone who's done something, and leave your hometown. Secondly, is like we were talking about earlier, pay your dues. And Truth Martini taught me the biggest one. If there's ever a veteran or just a wrestler who's talking to you and they've been doing it, you're not, don't give them a yeah, but if they tell you like, hey, do your body slam, do this move, thank you. That's all you say, thank you. You don't, I was going to do it this way because of this reason. Like, no, that person has made a career out of wrestling. Do what the hell they say.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of people have brought up Tom, and I've always been a fan of Tom, so I've kind of always been around the developmental system. So when he got signed years ago, I was in Tampa, and it was just so cool. It was before NXT, and it was FCW. It was like they were going from FCW to NXT. And when he was a part of the Ascension back then, the way he would talk and the promos and stuff, Tom is so talented in everything that he's done. I've always felt.
And he really doesn't. He discredits himself, and I've had to give him like the big brother talk, even though I'm like the little brother. Like, tell him, like, dude, you are so much better than majority of the people I know. But he doesn't believe it. And, like, I think he does believe it. He's very humble. But I've had to tell him, like, you deserve the opportunity. At NWA 70, or excuse me, at Always Ready, he was in the main event. It was a total four-way. Him, Nick Aldis, Trevor Murdoch, and Sam Shaw. And all of the boys were so proud of him. Like, he deserved this spot. He earned it. He should be in the main event. And he shouldn't be just a one-timer in the main event. He should stay in the main event picture.
I agree.
Absolutely. So, where can people find you on social media?
Instagram, mostly it's one I use most. It's The Freak Freeman. Freak is a college nickname. So, The Freak Freeman. On Twitter, it's the same, The Freak Freeman. And I believe if you ever decide to give me money for no good reason, it's also that on Cash App and Venmo.
Hey, that's a good plug. I like that one.
Sure. I'm pretty much the Freak Freeman everywhere.
Right. Oh.
What's the... Go ahead.
I was just going to ask what type of stogie you're smoking.
This one, what is it? Alibi. It's from Stogie Bird. There's a company in Pittsburgh, and I'm friends with some of the guys that work for them. I've actually used them for years, and I just randomly ran into them at a show. And we started talking about cigars, and I was like, oh, I've used Stogie Bird for years. And he's like, I work there. And so it was like the smallest world thing.
That is
And
crazy.
so, yeah, it was really extreme. I heard about it originally from Cody Rhodes and Eric Young. So I've used them for years, but I'm a cigar guy. I chew tobacco. I don't do dip. I don't do Grizzly or Copenhagen. I do Red Man, which is now America's best. I do Red Man, and then I do cigars. Jake does cigars too. That's kind of our tradition. Anytime him and I grew up on the Indies together, and anytime we would be on the road, we'd go out and prepare for our match together. And we'd be smoking a cigar in the back.
Hey, that you gotta do you. I've been known to enjoy a cigar from time to time as well. So yeah, for sure.
I don't smoke anything else.
Good. What's the long-term goal with the NWA?
I want to stay with them. And a lot of people say, you ever want to go to WWE? You want to go to AEW? I mean, if I got a contract, I'd probably be a little tempted. But I want to stay with the NWA. I want to see where it goes, and I want to be a part of the growth. And I talked with Billy about it, and he feels the same way. And, I might piss him off one of these days and he'll feel different. But right now, we've got a good relationship. And, I would like to be in a main event picture myself. Everybody should join wrestling, and they should want to be the world champ one day. So I'd like to get enough experience where that can be me one day.
Be a franchise player.
Uh-huh.
I understand that. I understand that feeling fully. That's you want to see it grow, and you want to be a part of it as it grows. And that's.
I've been buying lottery tickets lately because I'm an idiot, and I was talking to Tom and Jake the other day, and I was telling them, man, if I win the lottery, win this $1 billion pot they had, I was like, I'm just going to try to buy half the NWA and just blow it up. We'll make it as big as we can. We got 2 mega millionaires on it, you know? Bye.
There you go. Yeah. Well, I think that's actually a good interview for us. Unless you have anything else you'd like to add.
Man, I'm good. You guys got to watch NWA. If you haven't been, it's a great product. And times are changing. We'll see where the business is heading now that the old man's retired. But times are changing, and NWA, we're right there. We're always evolving.
But it's professional wrestling in a world full of sports entertainment is what I like about it.
Yes, that's hard hitting action. Yes,
for sure. So thank you so much for coming on. Would love to have you on again sometime.
Well, thank you very much. And yeah, reach out anytime. I'm always happy to come back.
Awesome. Thank you. Enjoy your evening. Have a great one.
You too. Bye.
Hey everybody, it's Morty.
It's Brian.
And thank you for watching today's episode of Developmentally Speaking.
If you could, please click that subscribe button.
And don't forget to punch that bell icon so you can get notified whenever we go live or drop a new video every Monday. Well, thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you on the next
Developmentally Speaking.